Prime Minister Justin Trudeau sat down with CBC News chief political correspondent Rosemary Barton for a year-end interview that aired on Sunday, December 26, 2023. In the interview, Trudeau discussed some of the major issues that faced his government and the country in 2022, such as the COVID-19 pandemic, the Emergencies Act, the firearms legislation, the climate crisis, and the reconciliation with Indigenous peoples. Trudeau acknowledged that the COVID-19 pandemic was the most difficult and unprecedented challenge that his government had to deal with in 2022. He said that his priority was to protect the health and safety of Canadians, while also supporting the economy and the recovery. He praised the efforts of the provinces and territories, the healthcare workers, the scientists, and the Canadians who followed the public health measures and got vaccinated. He also highlighted the achievements of his government in securing and distributing millions of doses of vaccines, providing financial assistance to individuals and businesses, and investing in healthcare and long-term care systems. However, he also admitted that there were mistakes and lessons learned along the way, such as the delays in the vaccine rollout, the gaps in the border controls, and the need for better coordination and communication among different levels of government. He said that his government would continue to work with the provinces and territories, the international community, and the private sector to ensure that Canadians have access to booster shots, rapid tests, and treatments, as well as to prepare for future pandemics and variants. About Poilievre, Trudeau said he is not putting any solution on the table at all.
So much about that because they're not looking to Poilievre because he's got all these solutions. He's not putting any solutions on the table at all.
Trudeau reiterated his commitment to strengthening the gun control laws in Canada and to banning assault-style weapons and handguns. He said that his government had introduced Bill C-21 in February 2022, which would give municipalities the power to ban handguns, and would also create a buyback program for the owners of the prohibited firearms. Trudeau expressed his optimism and his urgency about tackling the climate crisis, and his pride in Canada's leadership and ambition on the global stage. He said that his government had taken bold and concrete actions to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, to phase out coal, to put a price on carbon, to invest in clean energy and green infrastructure, and to support the workers and the communities in the transition. He said that he was encouraged by the outcomes of the COP26 summit in Glasgow, where Canada joined more than 100 countries in pledging to end the use of coal and to achieve net zero emissions by 2050. He said that he was also impressed by the mobilization and the innovation of the youth, the Indigenous peoples, the civil society, and the private sector in fighting for a greener and more sustainable future. Trudeau reaffirmed his commitment and his responsibility to advancing the reconciliation with Indigenous peoples, and to addressing the historical and ongoing injustices and inequalities that they face. He said that his government had made significant progress and investments in areas such as clean drinking water, education, healthcare, child welfare, languages, and infrastructure. He said that his government had also implemented the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, and had launched the National Action Plan in response to the calls for justice from the National Inquiry into Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women and Girls. However, he also acknowledged that there were still many challenges and gaps to overcome, and that the discovery of the unmarked graves at the former residential schools had been a painful and tragic reminder of the colonial legacy and the intergenerational trauma that Indigenous peoples endure. He said that his government would continue to listen to and work with the Indigenous leaders, the survivors, the families, and the communities to honor the truth, to provide the healing, and to deliver the justice that they deserve.